As you all know, I made a request today for what we were calling a gag order, and I'm not going to walk out of court and do anything other than...
Sean Diddy Combs has found himself at the center of a whirlwind of scandal and conspiracy, and it seems like this time the stakes are higher than ever. His glamorous, larger-than-life image is under siege, with mounting legal troubles that could see him behind bars for the rest of his days. Yes, you heard that right, Sean Diddy Combs could be facing life in prison. But what exactly went down, and how did this hip-hop mogul end up entangled in one of the biggest controversies of his career?
One of the things that's going to happen, and I do believe that there has been a grand jury investigation that has been employed in this case. I think there may be a federal investigation going on, and there may be a stateside one, but I'm not totally sure. But one of the things that the prosecution in any case is going to try to do is show that there is a pattern of behavior here. Now,
just imagine one day you're flying on private jets and living in multi-million-dollar mansions, and the next, you're denied bail and facing the possibility of spending your golden years in a jail cell. It's a storyline straight out of a Hollywood movie, and yet for Diddy, it's all too real. He's currently locked up in Brooklyn's infamous Metropolitan Detention Center, and while his team scrambles to clear his name, the allegations are piling up fast. With a high-profile trial set for May 2025, people everywhere are holding their breath to see how this story unfolds. But with the accusations this serious, Diddy's future looks anything but promising.
Does he have a shot? I think his attorneys raised some good arguments.
I think they raised good arguments as well. Maybe this will be third time's the charm, because the difference between this bail motion and the prior two is that this one really does get to the heart of what the court was concerned about, which was witness intimidation.
What's landed him in this hot water? Well, it's a sordid tale that stretches back decades and involves all sorts of wild claims, from manipulative power plays to shocking party antics. The list of charges is enough to make anyone's head spin. Reports allege that Diddy wasn't just living the high life, he was orchestrating events that would make the average person's jaw drop. His so-called freak-off parties are just the tip of the iceberg. For years, Diddy's been rumored to host these lavish, over-the-top gatherings where allegedly people were pushed to their limits, all in the name of his personal amusement.
The evidence, alleged evidence, that's been gathered in this case was from those two raids that were conducted on his personal homes in Miami and Los Angeles. And the indictment names the things seized that he allegedly made videos of these performances that have been named.
But let's rewind to September 2024 when things started to unravel publicly. That's when the world got a glimpse into Diddy's supposed secret life. The accusations aren't just random hearsay, they're detailed in an official indictment that reads like a thriller novel. The documents paint a picture of a man who's been running a coordinated operation, one that allegedly involved controlling and manipulating people for his own gain. So it's the kind of story that's both unbelievable and strangely compelling, and the details just keep coming.
If the government is going to mandate that they are responsible for your well-being, they have to ensure the safety of your well-being.
So what's in this indictment that has everyone talking? Well, let's start with the infamous freak-off parties. Imagine the kind of gatherings that only someone like Diddy could pull off: grand estates, secret invitations, and a guest list filled with people who know how to keep quiet. These weren't your typical get-togethers. Allegedly, Diddy created an atmosphere where people felt compelled to go along with whatever he wanted. The indictment claims that he used his influence to not just invite guests, but to pull them into situations that left them feeling like they had no way out.
Everything that you're looking at, they're all tied in together. Every part, as crazy as it seems, as outrageous as it seems, it all ties in, every bit of it.
And it's not just a one-time thing. The documents outline a series of these events over the years, each more outrageous than the last. The parties were reportedly so well coordinated that they seemed like they were straight out of a meticulously crafted playbook. According to the allegations, Diddy had a team that helped him pull the strings behind the scenes. Whether or not these claims are true, they paint a picture of a man who knew how to orchestrate every aspect of his image and his parties down to the last detail.
Diddy has been under criminal investigation for months by federal prosecutors here in New York. And if there are criminal charges, many of them may look a lot like what some of these individuals have been describing.
But it doesn't end there. The government claims that Diddy wasn't acting alone. In fact, they're saying he had a whole network of people helping him, turning his personal indulgences into a full-blown enterprise. The indictment refers to this as the Combs Enterprise, a coordinated effort that allegedly involved everyone from household staff to business associates. The whole setup, according to these allegations, was about maintaining control and ensuring that anyone who stepped out of line was swiftly dealt with. It's a classic case of a powerful figure allegedly using their resources to protect their secrets. And if these accusations are true, it's a chilling look at how far he was willing to go to keep up appearances.
And Stacey, you say today's indictment reads like a mob indictment. What was most shocking to you of all these allegations?
Yeah, the fact,
Diddy's lawyers aren't taking this lying down. They've come out swinging, accusing the government of trying to smear his name with a wave of sensationalist allegations. His defense team is claiming that the whole case is built on shaky ground, and they've been quick to point out what they see as inconsistencies. They're saying that the media has blown things way out of proportion, turning Diddy into a villain without any real evidence to back it up. They're even arguing that the government has leaked information to the press in an attempt to sway public opinion against him before he even steps into the courtroom.
Basically what that means is the money that they're saying Diddy has to start paying this guy on October 1st, right. Diddy's team is like, hold on, we need an emergency conversation about why this should not have been granted. And they awarded him a TRO, which basically meant that Diddy's team was not allowed to sell any property in that state or anything related to what could be used to pay the plaintiff.
One particular piece of evidence that's got everyone talking is the infamous hotel footage from 2016. This footage supposedly shows Diddy in a heated altercation at a Los Angeles hotel, and it didn't take long for the video to go viral. But according to his lawyers, this video was leaked deliberately to paint Diddy in a negative light. They've gone so far as to request a hearing to look into how this footage found its way into the public domain, claiming that it's all part of a larger campaign to tarnish his reputation. It's the kind of back and forth you'd expect from a high-stakes legal battle, and it's only added more fuel to the fire.
About anything that I haven't said in court or in the papers, these are all great questions, but I'm just not going to get into it. So,
can you speak about your concerns about the leak and the video? You have spoken about that before.
I did it in the court papers, and I'm just going to stick to the court papers. As you guys all know, let me just finish. As you all know, I made a request today for what we were calling a gag order, and I'm not going to walk out of court and do anything other than live up to that. So,
the drama doesn't stop there. The entire case has sparked a frenzy on social media, where conspiracy theories are running wild. Fans and critics alike are digging through Diddy's past, searching for connections and patterns that could explain what's going on. And thanks to the power of the internet, these theories are spreading like wildfire. Some people are even claiming that Diddy's ties to high-profile political figures have put him in the crosshairs, turning a personal scandal into a full-blown media circus. The more people talk, the more the story evolves, turning what could have been a pay-forward case into a complex web of speculation and intrigue.
Dawn had the choice to file the case as a Jane Doe, and she chose not to do that. After giving it a fair amount of thought, she wants accountability.
Social media has been especially ruthless, with digitally altered images and AI-generated videos fueling the rumor mill. There are posts claiming that Diddy has been seen hobnobbing with some of the most powerful people in the world, from former presidents to current political heavyweights. People are going so far as to suggest that he's part of a secret society, hinting at sinister connections that seem more suited to a spy thriller than real life. One viral image even tried to suggest that Diddy was involved in a bizarre ritual with a certain well-known politician, although anyone with a sense of skepticism could tell the picture was fake. Still, these kinds of posts keep popping up, and they're adding layers of mystery that only make people more curious.
Trying a criminal case in the modern times, a lot of evidence is on electronic devices, cell phone, tablets, computers, things of that nature. And the devices, especially if you have like external hard drives, 90-something terabytes of data on a single device makes me think it's some type of hard drive. That takes weeks to go through just for one device on its own.
The wildest theories are pointing fingers at some of Diddy's past associations, suggesting that this case might go even deeper than anyone expected. He's long been seen as someone with connections to powerful people, but now these connections are under a microscope. His public support for figures like Barack Obama and his appearances alongside high-profile names like Kamala Harris are being re-examined, and people are asking whether these friendships are as innocent as they once seemed. In the past, he was celebrated for using his influence to support causes and candidates, but now those same connections are being used against him, with people speculating about just how far his reach really extends.
There are some problems that the defense has brought up originally, but it seems like, just from reading this 14-page indictment, that there is enough physical evidence to perhaps get a conviction in this case. We shall see.
And then there's the rumor about his ties to certain controversial figures from past scandals. Some conspiracy theorists are drawing parallels between Diddy's current legal troubles and the infamous cases of Jeffrey Epstein and the Clintons. They're suggesting that, just like these other high-profile figures, Diddy might have been involved in activities that go far beyond what anyone thought possible. It's the kind of theory that thrives on scandal and innuendo, with people connecting dots that may or may not even exist. Whether or not there's any truth to these claims, they're certainly adding to the spectacle, turning Diddy's life into a soap opera that the public just can't seem to look away from.
rumors are that Diddy was running some kind of Epstein-type deal where he was filming everybody, right?
That's the rumors, yeah. I don't know that there's any proof or anything other than that.
So as the story unfolds, Diddy's team is fighting to control the narrative, but it's an uphill battle. For every denial they issue, a new rumor seems to surface, keeping the story alive in the tabloids and on social media. It's clear that this case isn't just about the charges against him, it's about a public that's hungry for drama and a media landscape that's all too happy to feed that hunger. Diddy's once untouchable image is now being chipped away piece by piece. And as he sits in his jail cell, he must be wondering how things went so wrong, so fast.
There has been some updates in the Diddy $100 million default judgment that we reported on.
But for now, Diddy's story is one of a man who's gone from the top of the world to the brink of disaster. With each new twist, the stakes get higher, and the world watches as one of hip-hop's biggest icons fights to clear his name. What lies ahead for him? Will he be able to rebuild his reputation, or is this the beginning of the end? Only time will tell, but one thing's for sure, this story is far from over, and the world will be watching every step of the way.
I had clients describe MDC as hell, as the worst conditions they've been in.
Now let's get to what life looks like for Sean Diddy Combs in his current situation as he faces the harsh reality of life behind bars. Imagine going from living in luxury mansions, attending star-studded events, and flying around the world on private jets, to being locked up in one of the toughest detention centers in the country, the Metropolitan Detention Center, or MDC, in Brooklyn. It's a nightmarish place, notorious for its appalling conditions and overcrowding, and it's where Diddy is currently sitting, awaiting trial. It's safe to say this is far from the life he's used to.
This is in the matter of Derek Lee Cardello Smith, MDOC number 267009 versus Sean Combs, Sean Puff Daddy Combs, also known as Sean P. Diddy, also known as Diddy, Bad Boy Records label owner.
Let's not sugarcoat it, the MDC is no five-star retreat. We're talking about a facility that's been described as hell on earth by former inmates. It's the kind of place that chews people up and spits them out, leaving even the toughest folks mentally and physically drained. And now, Diddy, once one of the richest and most influential figures in hip-hop, finds himself enduring the same grim existence as the rest of the inmates. It's a huge fall from grace, and honestly, no one could have seen this coming.
Now, so what is next? Is he going to be in jail in this facility until the trial begins? Is there a chance he could, get moved earlier than that? As of this moment, as of this hour, as of today, yes. But of course, as I mentioned earlier, they're going to be appealing this thing next to the Second U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals to overturn the judge's order here to try and get him actually released.
From the moment he was denied bail, Diddy's world turned upside down. Picture it, a man who once lived in sprawling, opulent town estates, now confined to a small, cramped cell with barely enough space to stretch out. Reports from inside the MDC are pretty damning: overcrowded cells, dismal food quality, poor medical care, and a constant atmosphere of tension. It's hard to believe that just a few months ago, Diddy was throwing lavish parties and rubbing shoulders with the elite, and now he's facing daily strict searches, sharing communal bathrooms, and living under 24/7 surveillance. It's a life no one could have imagined for him.
Incredible. And, it brings into context our whole system of innocent till proven guilty. Why is he not being given bond? And, we could debate that all day long. Of all people that's unlikely to flee or get away, well, he's got the resources to flee, but he's so recognizable. And isn't he innocent till proven guilty? Well, yeah, but, we have to recognize there are degrees of innocent till proven guilty.
According to sources, Diddy's been placed in protective custody due to his high-profile status. Now, that might sound like a small silver lining, but in reality, protective custody means isolation. For someone used to being the center of attention, surrounded by a constant entourage of friends, fans, and staff, this level of isolation has got to be a serious blow to his mental state. He's essentially cut off from the world, with very limited communication, and the only people he's likely interacting with are the prison guards. It's the kind of loneliness that would drive anyone crazy, let alone someone who's always thrived on social interaction and public adoration.
Legitimate concern. No judge wants to wake up and read the headlines the next day. Oh, they treated this guy special and they gave him bond, and now he's gone and he fled from justice. So that's what's in the back of most judges' minds. On the other hand, we deal with cases where clients have significant funds sometimes, and sometimes where there's money, you can craft a unique solution. Years ago, it was the ankle bracelet and the ankle monitor.
But it's not just the isolation that's weighing heavily on Diddy. The conditions at the MDC are notoriously bad. We're talking about a facility that's been sued multiple times over its horrific living conditions, with inmates reporting everything from infestations of insects to unsanitary food being served. One former inmate described the food as barely edible, and that's being generous. Diddy, who's used to dining on gourmet meals and the finest champagne, now has to settle for whatever slop is being served up in the mess hall, most likely bland, nutritionally deficient meals that are worlds apart from what he's accustomed to. And let's not forget the lack of personal freedom. Diddy, who once had the luxury of doing whatever he wanted, whenever he wanted, is now living on a strict prison schedule. Wake-up calls at 6 a.m., lockdowns at night, and only limited access to recreational activities. He's been stripped of the ability to control his own day, a reality that must be hitting him hard. For someone who's always called the shots, this sudden loss of freedom is probably one of the toughest pills to swallow.
That with all the money he has and all the resources he has, they couldn't craft some solution that lets him be under some form of house arrest. And again, it sounds like special treatment, but the truth of the matter is, to incarcerate somebody like him is expensive to all of us. We're taxpayers, and he's got to have unique situations. You can't put him in general population where, everyone wants a piece of him and everyone wants to be his friend and everyone. So
then there's the safety aspect. Even though he's in protective custody, MDC isn't exactly known for being a safe place. In fact, it's been the site of multiple violent incidents over the years, and the facility is often described as being understaffed and poorly managed. With tensions running high among inmates, it's not uncommon for fights to break out, and Diddy, despite his fame and fortune, isn't immune to the dangers lurking behind bars. The constant threat of violence, combined with the mental strain of confinement, is surely taking a toll on him. It's not just about surviving day to day, it's about staying alert, watching your back, and dealing with the ever-present fear that something could go wrong at any moment.
Where his money could help us craft, he could build his separate jail cell, and we could keep him there. Just interesting to me that they sort of said, nope, you're going to be treated not like everybody else, but a lot like everybody else. Having money doesn't do it. So I wouldn't want to be those judges. There's sort of a no-win situation for the judge.
But it's not just Diddy who's feeling the effects of his incarceration. His family, particularly his children, are struggling to cope with the situation as well. For his 7 kids, this entire ordeal has been devastating. They've been accustomed to a life of privilege where their father was always a larger-than-life figure, someone who could provide anything and everything they could ever want. And now, they have to watch as their dad faces the very real possibility of spending the rest of his life behind bars. Sources close to the family say that his children are in a state of shock, unable to fully grasp the gravity of what's happening.
Well, Sierra, anything's possible, right? But now this judge has an even harder time, I think, because the past judge locked him up, didn't let him out, and he's still there available for trial. If the new judge lets him out on bond and something goes wrong, and this isn't the analysis that I'm proud to make, right? We shouldn't be saying, well, judges are worried about their own skin and how they look if something bad happens.
Diddy, as any parent would be, is deeply worried about his children. Reports suggest that one of his biggest concerns right now is maintaining contact with his kids and ensuring that they're taken care of during this tough time. But being in jail, especially in a place like the MDC, makes communication difficult. Phone calls are limited and visits are rare, particularly for someone in protective custody. So the physical and emotional distance between him and his children is undoubtedly weighing heavily on him, adding another layer of stress to an already unbearable situation. And it's not just his children who are affected. His entire family and close circle of friends are reportedly leaning on each other for support, trying to process what's happening while staying strong for the kids. For someone like Diddy, who's always prided himself on being the rock for his family, the inability to be there for them during such a difficult time must feel like a crushing blow.
Try everything. They're going to try to transfer him. They're going to try to get him out. In a normal case where it's a high-profile person or a well-funded person, the prosecution and the judge is a little bit more concerned about a wrongful prosecution because people that are mad that they're being arrested for a crime they didn't commit can turn around and file for malicious prosecution.
Meanwhile, Diddy's legal team is doing everything they can to try and improve his conditions in jail. They've filed multiple motions, raising concerns about his safety and mental health, but so far nothing's changed. They're pushing for better accommodations, arguing that someone of Diddy's stature shouldn't be subjected to the same conditions as the general population. So whether or not these efforts will be successful remains to be seen, but in the meantime, Diddy's stuck in a place that's far from the life he once knew. As his trial date inches closer, the pressure is mounting. With the possibility of a life sentence looming over him, the question on everyone's mind is, will Diddy crack under the weight of it all? Some insiders are speculating that the tough conditions might push him towards striking a plea deal, a way to escape the nightmare he's currently living. Others believe he's too prideful to go that route and will fight to clear his name, no matter what the cost. But one thing's for sure, the next few months are going to be crucial for Diddy, and the world will be watching closely to see what he does next.
Every jail is bad, and some jails are worse than others. And the problem, again, is if you move him, why is he getting special treatment? And maybe he's earned special treatment. Maybe what he's done, maybe he's given so much back to his fans and to the world and to charity that maybe there's a way that it plays out in the end. But again, to go into court and say this jail is bad, move him to another jail, is not your first argument. That's sort of the...
And let's not forget, while Diddy's world has come crashing down, the public's fascination with his fall from grace only seems to be growing. Every new detail that leaks from behind the prison walls adds fuel to the fire, keeping the story alive in the media and in the minds of his fans and critics alike. Whether it's rumors about his mental state or reports about his interactions with other inmates, people are hanging on to every word, eager to see how this once powerful figure navigates his new reality. As his legal team prepares for the upcoming trial, there's no doubt that the battle ahead will be intense. The prosecution is building a case that could see Diddy put away for life, and they're not holding back. They've already made it clear that they view him as a serious flight risk and a danger to the community, and they've managed to convince the judge to deny him bail twice. It's a devastating blow to Diddy's defense, and it only heightens the sense that this is a fight he might not win.
They can't move him to the general population. And would he be at risk? Sure, he'd be at risk. There's so many people that have nothing to lose, right? They're going to be in jail the rest of their life. They've got nothing to... They want their 15 minutes of fame. They were friends with Diddy, or they hurt Diddy, or they Diddy, or they did... I mean, there's so many, people in jail that this would be their moment. You can't put them there. Plus...
But Diddy's not going down without a fight. His team is doing everything they can to poke holes in the prosecution's case, challenging the credibility of witnesses and pushing back against what they see as a campaign to destroy Diddy's legacy. They've accused the government of conducting a witch hunt designed to take down one of hip-hop's most influential figures, and they're vowing to fight every step of the way. Still, even with the best legal team money can buy, Diddy's got an uphill battle ahead of him. The allegations are serious, and the evidence, especially the now infamous hotel footage, paints a troubling picture. If the prosecution can prove their case, Diddy could be looking at life in prison, a prospect that seemed unthinkable just a few years ago. As the trial date approaches, Diddy's story has become about more than just the charges against him. It's a reflection of the power and influence we wielded and how quickly it can all come crashing down. For years, Diddy was seen as untouchable, a man who had built an empire through hard work and ambition. But now he's fighting for his freedom, and his legacy hangs in the balance. His fall from grace serves as a reminder that no matter how powerful you are, no one is immune to the consequences of their actions. Whether or not Diddy is guilty of the crimes he's been accused of, the mere fact that he's in this position speaks volumes about the fragility of fame and fortune.
Those situations lend to maybe some issues with tampering. And I do feel like there are victims who are scared to come forward, including my client. She was very nervous about if he was going to get bail this week. And once I told her, and then come after people, including her and some of the other individuals. And she was very relieved when he did not receive.
The trial, set for May 2025, is shaping up to be one of the most high-profile court cases in recent memory. And as the world waits to see what happens next, one thing is clear: Diddy's future, once so full of promise, is now hanging by a thread. But will he manage to clear his name, or will he spend the rest of his days behind bars? The answers to these questions are still up in the air, but one thing's for sure: the world will be watching every twist and turn of this unfolding drama. And as Diddy sits in his cell, contemplating his next move, he must be wondering how he ended up here, far from the glitz and glamour of his former life. Whatever happens next, his story is a cautionary tale, a stark reminder that fame and fortune can vanish in an instant, leaving behind only questions and shattered dreams. With everything Diddy is facing, the question now is, what do you think is next for him? And do you believe he'll fight to clear his name, or could this be the end of the line for the hip-hop mogul? And drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think he'll make a comeback? Or is this fall from grace just too steep to recover from? Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more updates on this unfolding saga.